Hey, how's it going? Gareth James here for mttpokerschool.com, and today what I've got is a question from the Facebook group, and it comes from Luis, and the question is, can we use HRC to calculate optimal cold call ranges after arrays? Now, I think this is a great question, so thanks Luis for sending it in. As you can see, I've already responded in the group, but I thought I would make a video today just going through my thoughts on this. So let's go into Poker Tracker, and here's an example. Now, where do we get to cold call the most? Probably in the big blind facing a raise. Now, this raise obviously can come from very different positions. Here you can see it's coming from middle position 1, but we can do the same exercise from the cutoff, from the button, from under the gun, from middle position, from the hijack, etc. So here we've got, as I said, middle position 1 opening for about 2.4x, and it folds around to us in the big blind with the king 9 suited. We're definitely going to go ahead and defend with the king 9 suited here, but I think it's really, really good when you're reviewing hands to see, okay, what other hands am I going to be defending in this situation? So I'm going to walk you through the process now of using HRC to work out cold calling ranges, and then together we're going to see if we think it can do a good enough job and whether or not we want to sort of trust in that information that it gives us. So what we're going to do, click up here, options, view hand details, and you'll get this box here. We're going to do select all and copy, and then we're going to go through to Holdem Resources Calculator. Just going to bring that in here, and we're going to click advanced hand. So basic hands will just do push fold. Advanced hands will allow you to do something a little bit more. We're going to look at cold calls today. We can do 3 bets and 4 bets and 5 bets and all sorts of funky stuff. We're going to paste the hand in. It'll put all of the stacks in for you and the blind levels. We're going to be working just in chip EV mode at the moment. And we click next. Let's bring this down. And then we're going to look at the betting setup. Now, he opens for 1675, and we've selected this option here. Now, this is the key thing to look at today. When we're thinking about cold calls, we've got to click this button here, allow flatting of opens. There is another one that says allow over flatting, so over calls, but we're just going to look at over flatting today. I've also put a 3-bet size of about 3.3x his raise, I believe, and then we've got a 4-bet size of all in. But really, we're just focused on this open line here, and we're just going to click through, click next. Going to get to our player who raises, and I'm going to walk you through this process as well because this allows you to speed up the process. So what you could do, if we just go back, you could literally just click finish now, and it would take quite a long time because it would look at everybody opening 1675, everyone's 3-bet sizing, everyone's cold call range, everyone's 4-bet range, and it would just take a very, very long time. So what we're going to do is click next and get everyone to fold who folds, so under the gun +1, and then we're going to click the player that raises. And then we just go in here and we select what we think his range might look like. So let's say it's going to look something like, so all the suited aces. Yeah, I think that's, a fair representation of a middle position 1. Maybe it's looser, maybe it's tighter in the games you're playing. Don't forget that this is just an exercise in working out the cold call ranges. So we have to start with their opening range. Obviously, our cold call range is going to be a function of their range and the pot odds that we're getting. So we select this. Let's go for 14.8. And then here's the thing. So you can click finish again here, but then it will work out everyone's cold call ranges behind, and everyone's 3-bet ranges, and everyone's 4-bet ranges. We're going to get everyone to fold until it gets to us. And then we're just going to click finish. And what you'll find is it really, really speeds up the process. And suddenly we're able to be much more efficient and productive with the work that we're doing. So then we click on here. You're going to see we've got a cold call range and a 3-bet range. And interestingly enough, if you add up the cold call range and the 3-bet range, you'll see that it adds up to 100%. Now, let's just open up our cold call range and click EV background color. And what you can see is that every single hand it believes is a call. So why is this? Why does this happen? Well, what it comes down to, we'll just go back into Poker Tracker, and it comes down to the pot odds and the equity that all of those hands have against our opponent's opening range. So I'm going to bring in Equilab now. This is the range that we chose for under the gun, and you can see that we need 22% equity. So if we just go for a hand like 3-2 offsuit, you can see that 3-2 offsuit has more than 22% equity. So that makes this a call, right? Well, actually, no, it doesn't. because 3-2 offsuit is going to have a very, very hard time at realizing its equity out of position. So really what we're looking for here is for hands that actually do well at realizing their equity. Now, what I can do in the Power Equilab is click this function here, so the dice, and it puts all the random hands in. And I'm going to click this button here, which is a heat map. And you can see that once again, every single hand has the right amount of equity, at least 22%. And you can see that 3-2 offsuit has, in fact, 26.5% equity. So the next step now then is to work out, okay, so if we realize and recognize that a lot of these hands are not going to have, much chance at realizing their equity, we're not going to get to see many turns and rivers all the time, then what kind of hands do we want to play here? And really we're going to be looking for suited hands, for connected hands, for pairs, and a really easy way to look at this is to click this use playability profile. And what I've done here is I've looked at each individual hand and done my best guess at how good I think it is at realizing its equity out of position. So I click this button here, and now you can see suddenly, okay, we've got a fewer hands to choose from. We're getting rid of all of these hands, because if you think about it, I mean, a hand like King 5 off, King 6 off is going to do really, really badly at realizing its equity. So again, as I said, we're looking for the suited hands, and you can see that all suited hands would be calls here. We're looking at connected hands, like even these offsuit connected hands are fine calls here. We do go a little bit wider with the 8-6 off, 9-7 off, 10-7 off, but we are getting rid of a lot of these sort of garbagey hands. Now, some coaches, some sites will have you believe that you can defend anything here because you're getting such a great price, but I think you need to be thinking about how good your hand is at realizing its equity. So if we go back into Holdem Resources Calculator, when it suggests or recommends that we can defend with all of these hands, this is because it believes that the hand is just going to go to showdown now. Now, I don't know about you, but not many hands that you defend out of the big blind end up going to the showdown. The original raiser is going to bet a lot of the time, and you are going to be folding a lot of the time. I mean, your range is going to be much weaker relative to theirs, and that just means that they're going to be able to bet a lot of the time, and you're going to be doing lots of folding. You were getting such a good price that it's not necessarily too important to continue at the right frequency on the flop, because they just have a huge range advantage, and you've got that discount pre-flop, so you're able to let go a little bit more often on the flop. So I don't think this is a very good representation. So I definitely wouldn't be using Holdem Resources Calculator to work out my big blind defend ranges. But what I would be using is Power Equilab. Now, what you might find is actually some of these hands, are not even as good as I believe to realizing their equity. So what you could do instead, if you wanted to play it a little bit more safe, you could take the equity up slightly. Okay, maybe we go to 25%. Maybe we get rid of these sort of weaker ace-x hands. Maybe we get rid of these suited, these sort of weakest suited hands that are not connected in any kind of way. We got rid of the 7-6 off, 6-5 off, 5-4 off now. But I think this is a pretty good defending range. Now you can see the hands in green that have the most equity against your opponent's opening range. Obviously, some of these hands are going to be 3-bet for value, and then you're going to be looking for hands to 3-bet as a bluff. That's going to come probably in another video when we look at range construction, but I think it's important to think about those things now. So when I say defend, I mean basically we're not folding. So, I'm not suggesting that we should be calling with kings, queens, and aces. I'm merely suggesting that these are the hands that we will be continuing with in some way, either by calling or by 3-betting. Okay. So yeah, this is definitely what I recommend, using this software rather than Holdem Resources Calculator. I mean, it can start you off in the right direction, but as you can see, defending with 100% of hands here, when a lot of these hands do really, really poorly at realizing their equity, it's probably going to be a really, really big mistake. So I definitely recommend going in and using Equilab to help you out in this endeavor. And yeah, I wish you the best of luck. Thanks, Luis, for your question, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye. Thanks for checking out this video. If you would like free strategy articles and YouTube videos and free podcast episodes delivered straight to your inbox, then head over to mttpokerschool.com right now and sign up for our mailing list. I'll even throw in a free push fold guide and opening hand cheat sheet. What are you waiting for? Head to mttpokerschool.com right now.